check the travel history, and you have to have the contact history of the couple also, whether they have been in contact with the people who have been exposed to coronavirus. So the history has to be forthcoming. Only then we can be sure that this couple or this woman is not a carrier of coronavirus. Are pregnant women at higher risk from COVID-19? Research is currently underway to understand the impact of COVID-19 on pregnant women. The data is limited at present, and there is no evidence that pregnant women are at a higher risk of severe illness from the general than the general population. Whether you are pregnant or you are non-pregnant, practically it is the same presentation of COVID. However, due to changes in the body and immune system during pregnancy, the pregnant woman can be badly affected by some respiratory infection. It is therefore important that they take precaution to protect themselves against the COVID-19 and report possible symptoms including fever, cough, and difficulty of breathing to their healthcare provider. What should be the antenatal measure for the asymptomatic and unaffected woman at present? The recommended strategy for antenatal care is to defer the routine visit. They have to reduce the number of visits. They can consult the healthcare provider telephonically or through a web platform. Essential milestones such as 12 weeks or 90 weeks scans are needed, and women are advised to know fetal movement themselves. And the next scan can be at 32 weeks. So in a pregnancy, basically the scans can be 3 times or maximum 4 times during the whole pregnancy, compared to the present scenario where they are put to scan every month. So in the context of corona pandemic, the ultrasound visits can be reduced to 3 to 4 during the whole pregnancy. And pregnant women are a special category in terms of healthcare, and possibly they are more susceptible. So they should follow the guidelines. They should stay at home as much as possible. Routine antenatal care are deferred, like I mentioned, and keep the traffic of home visitor, including home care personnel, maids, and staff member to a minimum. It is rather difficult to practice. How can a pregnant woman restrict the maids or other staff members to who are helping her day to day? So she has to be careful. It has to be the same maid. You cannot keep on changing maid, so that you are assured that the particular maid is not a carrier of corona. Similarly, washing their hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds, and covering their mouth and nose with a bent elbow when they are coughing with a handkerchief. These are all precautions. You have to avoid touching the face, eyes, and nose, and keep a distance of at least 1 meter from the next person outside or in the house. All these are the protection for the pregnant woman. Testing for COVID in pregnancy. The criteria for offering a laboratory test are the same for pregnant women and non-pregnant population. As per the guidance given by ICMR, the pregnant woman should be tested when the pregnant woman has acute respiratory illness with one of the following criteria: whether she had traveled abroad in last 14 days, is a close contact or laboratory proven positive patient, or she is a healthcare worker herself, or hospitalized with features of severe and acute respiratory illness. And pregnant woman who is presently asymptomatic should be tested between 5 to 14 days of coming into direct and high risk contact of the individual. As per the guidance of Government of India, direct and high risk contact is defined as those living in the same household, traveling together by any conveyance, working together in close proximity in the same room, or healthcare worker providing direct care. The testing strategy has to evolve and recommendation may change. Nowadays, in Delhi, when we are booking a pregnant patient for elective delivery, elective cesarean, many of the hospitals are now wanting that they should be getting the report of COVID test. They bring the report of COVID test. only then they can be put up for elective surgery. Similarly, for infertility patients who want to start their stimulation, they must also do the COVID testing on day 2 of the period when they start, and day 9 or 10 of the period of the cycle when they will receive the trigger. Before receiving trigger, they should again do the COVID test. The idea of doing COVID test is that we should know that this patient is not a carrier, symptomatic carrier, because the incubation period, the patient might be in incubation period, and that is the time when she can be spreading the virus. The testing for COVID, the CDC recommend collection of nasopharyngeal swab. The sputum should be collected from the patient with protective cuff. The reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction is recommended by ICMR. The antibody test has also come into the market recently. They are testing for both IgM and IgG antibodies. The test should be performed from a center which is authorized by Government of India. We all know the list is out in the web, in the internet, and repeat test is only indicated if clinically warranted. The other investigations for comorbidities like respiratory pathogens, common cold are also seen. CT scan. CT scan of the chest is one of the earliest investigation which can be taken in 90-second or 2-minute exposure for a CT with covering of lead shield with a lead shield cover can be one of the earliest investigation which can say whether the patient is having COVID or not, because the laboratory tests take almost 20 hours or 24 hours for the report to come, and this CT lungs, the report is out in 5 minutes. The quarantine and isolation, what are the definition? The term quarantine, we are listening every day in television. It is used to separate and restrict the movement of well persons who are known to be exposed directly or indirectly or suspected to be exposed to a communicable disease to see if they become ill. These people may have been exposed to a disease or remain asymptomatic. This is quarantine. The isolation refers to separation and restriction of movement of ill person who have a contagious disease in order to prevent its transmission to others. It typically occurs in a hospital setting or a special facility. At present in India, all symptomatic patients who have a positive test to COVID are being isolated. The quarantine criteria are the same for pregnant women and general population. The criteria and duration of measure may be changed with the passage of time as per advice of Government of India. A contact in context of COVID is a person living in the same household, a person having had direct physical contact with a COVID patient or is infectious creature without recommended personal protective equipment or with the possible breach of PPE, a person who was in a closed environment and had face-to-face contact with COVID at a distance of within 1 meter. So all these are the people who need to be quarantined. Instruction for contact being home quarantine. The home quarantine person should stay in a well-ventilated single room. If another family member need to stay, it is advisable to maintain a 1 meter distance. Need to stay away from elderly people, pregnant women. Should restrict the movement within the house. Under no circumstances should attend any social or religious gathering. And general health measures to be followed in quarantine include hand washing, avoiding sharing formaldehyde, wearing a surgical mask, changing it every 6 to 8 hours. If symptom appears during quarantine, the pregnant woman should contact a health facility by telephone, and family members of pregnant women are quarantined at home should keep a distance from her. Disposable should be used in case while linen has to be handled. Visitors are not allowed. The duration of home quarantine is 14 days from the time of exposure to a confirmed case or earlier if the test is performed on a suspect case and it is negative. The effect of COVID infection on pregnant women, the pregnancy state doesn't appear to be more likely to be severely unwell than the other healthy adults. It is expected that the large majority of pregnant women will experience only mild or moderate cold flu-like symptom, with other viral infections such as flu, maternal disease may be more severe. However, this has not been documented with COVID. As seen with general population, the risk factor for more severe disease may be found in pregnant women too. The risk of transmission to fetus. Till date, we had a report from China where 61 pregnant women were delivered, and only in 3 of the newborn babies they found the COVID test was positive. But generally speaking, till date, there is no indication that the COVID can have a vertical transmission from woman who is carrying the virus to the baby. The infection is not transmitted from mother to child by placental transfer or to secretion in the genital tract. There are 2 reports, including a total of 18 pregnant women with suspected or confirmed COVID pneumonia. All the newborns who were delivered by cesarean section tested negative for coronavirus. And with limited number of deliveries to COVID-infected women at present, there is no evidence of any fetal effect of infection in terms of fetal abnormalities or other parameters of growth or amniotic fluid or Doppler disease. Also here in Delhi, a senior resident in physiology department
वासु देखना है पर क्यों नहीं आ रही?
who tested positive and his wife also tested positive as she had delivered a healthy baby boy and the baby is not having any symptom of infection of coronavirus. So pregnant woman generally does not transmit the disease either through the placental transfer or through the secretion. Even they can, as far as lactation is concerned, they can express the milk and the same milk can be taken by the baby. But it is advisable that the babies are separated, isolated from the mother. They should not remain in the same bed with the mother because there might be a patient to baby transmission can be there later on. So they have to be isolated. The risk of transmission to fetus, there is no rationale recommending amniocentesis to detect fetal infection. And ultrasound 14 days after infection can be considered for pregnancy by recovery from the infection. There is no evidence of higher risk of abortion. There is no evidence of higher risk of preterm labor. However, as with systematic disease, which can compromise maternal health, there is a possibility that preterm labor may occur in this situation. Arrangements in existing healthcare facility to manage COVID-exposed and infected pregnant women. Every woman should be tried at the entry and allotted into one of the zones depending on the presentation. The infected and potentially infected pregnant women should be kept in a separate isolation. Each isolation area include the isolation ward and isolation ICU. Access to isolation area should be strictly. Termination of pregnancy, the sexual and reproductive healthcare in times of COVID. Abortion and reproductive healthcare may be affected by delayed presentation by the woman and lack of availability of provider. Abortion care is essential health care. It is critical to ensure that the women who seek abortion and family planning do not suffer from lack of access. The services should continue to be provided by the public and private provider. It is well established that early abortion are safe for women and the MTP Act places a limit on the gestation age for abortion. This makes the provision of abortion time sensitive. It is also established that women who seek abortion tend to get it one way or the other. So a lack of the services may mean that women seek an abortion from unsafe providers and put themselves in a harm. American College of Ops and Gynae algorithm for outpatient assessment and management of pregnant women with suspected or confirmed novel coronavirus infection. You have to assess the patient symptoms and conduct the illness severity assessment, and accordingly then you put the patient in the risk category. If the after assessment there are no symptoms, she can continue with the normal prenatal care. And if we find some positive answers, we have to elevate the risk of that patient. You have to assess clinical and social risk. We can then again put them either into moderate risk, or if there are still no positive answer, we can put them into a low risk. If there is no respiratory compromise, or if there is a respiratory compromise, you can admit the patient for further evaluation. These are all American College of Obstetric and Gynecological parameters. The assessment of pregnant women not able with COVID infection. A pregnant woman confirmed by test to have COVID infection and she is asymptomatic, the patient should be quarantined as per the current practice. If it's symptomatic, decision should be made for the requirement of hospitalization, further intensive care. In intensive care, the respiratory has to be monitored more than 30 breaths per minute. His saturation less than 39% at rest. Arterial pressure of oxygen or should be less than 300 millimeter of mercury. Patient with more than 50% lesion progression within 24 to 48 hours. Quick sequential organ failure assessment score can be useful adjunct to decision making. So all these parameters, they can help us in deciding whether the pregnant woman needs a critical care specialist or not. The quick bedside assessment tool is also available for sepsis, and it includes 1.4 the respiratory rate, mental status, systolic blood. So all this gives us a score, and we can do a quick bedside assessment. The medical assessment, medical management, drug use in treatment, this phototherapy can include oxygen supplementation, fluid management of COVID infection is attempted in two approaches. The first approach is the use of hydroxychloroquine, which is azithromycin. These drugs are readily available. The other approach is to use antiviral drugs, some of which are still not available. The other thing which has come recently is the use of plasma from the patient who have already recovered from coronavirus infection. Their plasma is being taken and injected into the patient with a fresh infection, where it is supposed to control the spread of the symptoms. The hydroxychloroquine in a dose of 600 milligram, 200 milligram thrice daily, and azithromycin 500 milligram once daily for 10 days has been shown to give biological care on day 6 of treatment in 100% of treated patient in one study. However, there are other studies which does not say that hydroxychloroquine can give a cure in all the patients. Hydroxychloroquine has been also mentioned by the American President, Mr. Trump, that probably this is going to be a wonder drug in this fight against coronavirus. And hydroxychloroquine has been also provided by Indian government to the American people and many other countries. The chloroquine can also be used as an alternative. The dose of chloroquine is 500 milligram twice for 7 days. Some people say azithromycin can be added only when there is a clinical suspicion of superadded bacterial infection. The antiviral therapy, lopinavir or ritonavir, was the first antiviral combination to use for coronavirus. And other agents like remdesivir is being evaluated in a randomized controlled trial. In India, some health authorities have prescribed the regime of oseltamivir 75 milligram twice daily for 5 days in conjugation with hydroxychloroquine. So these are all the various options for the medical treatment. Other drugs like Nasad, these drugs are mostly used in cases of corona-infected pregnant women for symptomatic relief of fever and myalgia. Paracetamol is a preferred drug. Antenatal steroids are recommended for enhancing lung maturity, like in usual whenever we are expecting a preterm delivery between 24 to 34 weeks, we can give 2 doses of antenatal steroid. If there is a suspicion of secondary bacterial infection, we give antibiotic. If there is a difficulty in breathing, an oxygen supplementation by nasal mask may be added. High flow nasal oxygen at 4 to 6 liters per minute may be immediately given. Intensive care management, 15% of the COVID infected individual will need care in hospital and 5% will need intensive care. Caring for critically ill pregnant women is based on management of viral pneumonia with respiratory failure with additional precaution to reduce the risk of transmission. The principal evidence-based guidelines for ARDS include conservative intravenous fluid strategies, empirical and early antibiotic for possible bacterial pneumonia, early invasive ventilation may be added, lung protected ventilation, periodic prone positioning during mechanical ventilation. There is little evidence of prone positioning in a pregnant woman. Pregnant women may benefit from being placed in a lateral position rather than prone position. Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation is also given when needed. Labor tried for women with corona infection. A protocol should be in place in every maternity unit to receive pregnant women in labor. The women should call in advance to alert the maternity unit about her arrival. Women should use private transport or ambulance, and she should be met with appropriately donned PPE at reception itself. Reception and triad in the same room as to be used for admission in labor, and there should be room with a negative pressure, and it may not be available everywhere. But this negative pressure is the thing which we are going to need in our IVF lab also. Keep the room free from any unnecessary item like decoration, etc. There should be restriction on the number of attendants allowed with the women and restriction on the entry and exit of non-essential staff into the room. The management of labor and delivery, birth attendants should be limited to one name contact. There should be adequate counseling of the mother. Separate delivery room and theaters are required for the management of suspected or confirmed case mothers. Both should have neonatal resuscitation corner located at least 2 meters away from delivery table. Resources required, adequate space, equipment, supplies, trained healthcare provider for delivery, cesarean section, and neonatal resuscitation. Depending upon the clinical picture and severity of condition, a multi-specialty team should be involved. The anesthetic neonatologist should be informed of such a woman. If woman present in preterm labor, prophylaxis is contraindicated. The decision should be individualized depending on the degree of clinical severity of infection. If there is a pulmonary involvement, beta-mimetic drugs should be avoided. The timing of delivery should not be altered on the basis of corona infection. The presence of infection is not an indication to induce labor or deliver the woman. At present, there is no evidence of transplacental vertical transmission. The exception to this should be the critically ill pregnant women, where delivery may be indicated to relieve extra metabolic and pulmonary load. However, the possible benefit of this need to be weighed against the possible risk of worsening of the seismic status with a surgical intervention. And such a decision has to be guided by individual circumstances, including the degree of clinical stability, the gestational age, the available infrastructure, and couple missions. Monitoring of labor should include periodic evaluation of respiratory status with a watch on symptom or difficulty. If there is any deterioration with future intensive care should be started. Indication for intervention should follow standard obstetric practice. With every examination and contact, healthcare workers should be mindful of adequate protective gear. IV line should be established. It is prudent to offer continuous electronic fetal monitoring. The second stage of labor should be cut short to prevent maternal exhaustion and reducing maternal. The route of delivery. COVID is not an indication to alter the route of delivery. Cesarean section is performed for standard obstetric.
Hello.
Hello? At present, the pregnant woman has almost universally been delivered by cesarean section when they're present in labor with COVID infection. There is no proven scientific rationale for this. It could reflect local preference and practice. Even if vertical transmission is confirmed as additional data or as the additional data is reported, there would not be an indication for cesarean delivery. Then it would increase maternal risk and would unlikely to improve newborn outcome. Reports of corona infection in the neonate have generally been described as a mild disease. Labor anesthesia and anesthesia in pregnant women with coronavirus infection. A team of anesthetists should be available. There is no evidence that epidural spinal anesthesia is contraindicated. So, a patient who are fit enough for labor can be offered epidural anesthesia. If you require a cesarean delivery, epidural anesthesia can be continued, and one can avoid general anesthesia because a general anesthesia, the risk of aerosol infection, aerosol transmission are very high. So you have to take additional precaution if such a patient has to be given general anesthesia. So regional anesthesia is always a preferred one in cases of patient with coronavirus. However, in a situation where there is a respiratory compromise, general anesthesia and subsequent ventilation may be needed. If a general anesthesia is given, pre-oxygenate the patient with 100% oxygen and perform rapid CPH induction. Use a video laryngoscope to improve intubation rate, and this is a procedure which produce aerosolization. So you need a full PPE as a measure when you are giving this intubation. The flow chart of management of pregnant women with suspected or confirmed infection. You see the flow chart being given. If there is a obstetric emergency or she is in active labor, whether the patient is needed and she is stable or not, is how you can evaluate the patient. And then there is a management of labor and the surgical procedure as per this flow chart. You can go through it. Testing the once the newborn is there, you have to test the newborn whether the newborn is having any signs of corona infection or not. Some areas of concern regarding testing on newborns are mentioned below to help you counseling
Coronavirus.
the mother. The newborn born mother with corona infection with 14 days delivery up to 28 days after birth.
Is coronavirus major disease?
Yeah. And breastfeeding, at present, the knowledge stand that there is no evidence coronavirus is secreted in the breast milk. For women wishing to breastfeed, the following precaution can be taken. They can wash their hands before and after touching the baby. The mother should practice respiratory hygiene by wearing a mask and not sneezing in front of baby. All surfaces should be kept clean and disinfected. If mother is confirmed with corona infection or who is symptomatic, she can express the breast milk with a manual or electric pump. Wash her hands before touching any pump or bottle and should follow recommendation. Consider asking someone who is well to feed the baby with the postnatal care. Should include continued medical evaluation for respiratory status, and she should be encouraged to maintain good practice of hygiene related to perfusion and hand hygiene.
From where did the coronavirus start?
The discharge card for maternity unit should have advice about the corona infection, in addition to usually post-delivery infection, and mother recovering from acute illness or isolated from the infant may be at risk of
From
developing
where did the coronavirus start?
and other mental health issues. She should be offered counseling and psychological support. Such women may need a psychiatric consultation. Further into pupurium, the couple should follow the contraceptive practice as per their informed choice. All this was for the pregnant women who come into a labor to deliver and deliver a baby, how to look after the baby. And the other aspect was for the other segment is for the woman who is trying to conceive. They come to see infertility specialist. In such cases, also we supposed to take the history starting from the travel history, the contact history, We have to investigate
Yo, bro.
patient. Any patient who is starting infertility treatment, they have to be tested for corona with PCR. Once it is negative, they can be taken it into the treatment.
From where did the coronavirus start?
The infertility treatment is generally not considered as an essential, but as the things are improving, we have to start taking up infertility patients who cannot wait for long. Patients, especially patients with a low core ovarian reserve, or patients who are under who have to undergo some oncology treatment. So these are the category of patients who cannot wait for long. We have to start their treatment. What we have done till now is that we have finished all our patients who have been started earlier before the lockdown was started. And now once the lockdown will be relaxed from 3rd May onward, we can again start taking up the patient who are looking for infertility management. And important thing is, like I mentioned, reduce the number of antenatal visits to 4 for 9 months. We are still in the early phase of the infection. The patient who has conceived now, or say from January onward, who will deliver by September, October, then we will know what is the effect of corona infection on the neonatal outcome, whether these children are going to have preterm delivery or they are going to have other issues. We still don't know. We are only aware of the patient who had delivered, like 61 patients had delivered in China during this time, and they didn't find any vertical transmission to the newborn. But the other effect on newborn, the babies, on the pregnant women who are going to deliver, say, after 6 months or after 5 months, then we'll know what can be the effect of corona on the pregnancy. The, like I mentioned, the use of general anesthesia is to be discouraged. You have to shift to regional anesthesia. Similarly, we have to shift to regional local anesthesia in cases of ovum pickup, and we may give it some supplementation of sedation, and ultrasound also. You have to avoid especially the vaginal ultrasound, and if you are using the ultrasound, you have to be very sure that the room is very well ventilated. You have to clean the probe after every ultrasound. You have to clean that long wire, hand wire, which can go. You have to clean everything. You have to clean your chair. So, and see to it that a very limited number of people are there when you're doing ultrasound. Maybe the one operator who is doing ultrasound and another person who is noting down the finding. That is all. So it should not be the crowd of people like it used to be previously when we are doing ultrasound. 2 people maximum when you are doing ultrasound, and room be very well ventilated. In fact, you are going to have different type of what you call air purifiers can be there. Some plasma purifier also coming to the market. We have to keep on changing with the scenario, with the corona scenario, how we are going to change the about infertility practice also. That is important, you see, because infertility, like I say, is not an essential practice, but it is going to be practice which we have to start very soon once the lockdown is lifted. So this segment of society, the people, the patient, this segment of patient has to be cared, and we have to be very clear when we are caring for them that they are not cause of spreading of the corona infection to the healthcare provider or to the other patient. So all the adequate precautions has to be taken, like social distancing and the number of patients you have to you can see. And similarly, we have to change certain lab practice, IBM lab practice, the number of embryologists sitting in the IVF lab. And the embryologists must be tested for corona infection. The PCR has to be done on them every month because they are the people who are touching the gametes. Till now, the human gametes had not been have been affected for coronavirus. But we don't know in future what will happen when the embryologists are touching the gametes from different patients, and they should not become the cause of transmission of coronavirus. So this is going to be different change in the way we practice. We can practice diet.
Dr. Nair,
Yeah,
I think some doctors would be willing to ask questions,
yeah,
but
go ahead.
before they do so, can I request you to please stop sharing the screen, because I'm sure your presentation is over by now.
Yeah,
You can just stop sharing the screen.
stop sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that yeah, yeah. I request all the doctors, in case we have any questions, please ask the doctor. Please
Okay.
go ahead. Yes, please. Please ask the questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to ask that from where did the coronavirus start?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Actually, sir, someone is asking from where this coronavirus started.
It started from Wuhan in China.
Okay.
Because yesterday night I was watching the television. There was a big discussion whether this coronavirus started from Wuhan, whether it started from the virology lab or whether it started from the flea market, where the wild animal meat is being served. So they are still trying to find out whether it started from the flea market itself, where the wild animals are sold, or from their virology lab. They have a big virology lab in Wuhan. So they are still not sure. But Wuhan is the city from where it started.
Okay, any more questions? Please go ahead. Request all the attending doctors, if they have any query, please ask Dr. Nair.
Who introduced it in Wuhan?
Who introduced? We also don't know. That's why I'm saying whether it came from the free market where the wild animal meat is being sold,
Oh,
or they have been studying this coronavirus in bats. And one of the theories that from bat it has been transferred to human beings.
Well, I could see many doctors who are there in this CME. If they are willing to ask any questions, please ask, because we are going to end the session within the next 5 minutes. If we have any questions, please ask.
no, sir, no
I
question.
have a question.
Yeah,
Dr.
please ask.
Thank you for a comprehensive presentation. To know what is your opinion on the risk of thrombosis in pregnancy or in the postnatal period, and is it enhanced in COVID-19 infected
In
individuals?
fact, I was also reading that one of the theory being circulated, it is thrombosis happening in corona infection, which is causing all the symptoms. So, if you see the pregnant state itself is more prone to cause thrombosis. But whether the pregnant woman is going to have corona infection, so she's more likely to have thrombosis or not, I also don't know. But
Yes, but
one of the
yeah,
theory being propagated is that the corona infection itself is causing thrombosis.
What will be the solution of coronavirus?
Oh, yes, I given that medical management, what are the drugs which can use hydroxychloroquine, erythromycin, antiviral drugs, and or even plasma therapy has come. And ultimately, we have to find a vaccine. The vaccine will take around nearly 8 months to 1 year to come in the market. Although some countries are saying that probably it will come a little earlier also. But the vaccine has to go through human trials and all those things. Only once the vaccine is available, that will be the solution. That will.
So going back to the thrombosis question, I think as obstetricians and gynecologists, we should focus a bit on whether we need enhanced thromboprophylaxis, especially in the postnatal patients, and what are the risks. So we have to sort of be safe, and it might be wiser to give
Yeah,
thromboprophylaxis.
you see, if you get a pregnant woman with a coronavirus infection, once she is coming, generally speaking, 85%, 80% or 85% of the patients are all having mild symptoms. It is only the 15% which progress to severe symptoms and 5% need ICU admission. Now, whenever patient is coming with mild symptom, whether to put such patient on prophylactic heparin, that is the question. When the patient come with a mild symptom of fever and flu type symptom, whether we should put them immediately on prophylactic heparin, I have no idea. Maybe we have to see the other studies whether we should put them, whether the corona patient, pregnant woman who is having corona infection, come with a mild symptom, whether we should put them on prophylactic heparin. We have to see the studies. That is what is happening, isn't it?
Yes, I think in the intensive care, we can check with our colleagues in intensive care whether they are using, heparin in those patients who are bedridden and on ventilators. Of course, they would be using the DVT pumps in all patients. I think we can share this point and discuss it with the intensivists.
Yeah, any more questions?
No.
Dr. Nayar, with your permission, can we end the session now?
Thank you very much. It was my
Sir,
pleasure.
sir, as we end today's meeting, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. K.D. Nayar for giving such a wonderful deliberation. I would also like to thank all doctors for joining the online experience sharing meet. We at Alembic wish you and your family safe and healthy life. Thank you all very much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, from the Alembic, my marketing team is connected now, so he wants to share some international regarding information regarding some international webinar. So,
Yeah,
ma'am.
good afternoon, Doctor. Prachi here from Alembic Genoa marketing team. First of all, K.D. Nayar sir, thanks for your wonderful deliberation, and I would like to thanks all the joining doctors once again. We are happy to share Alembic Gynae will be starting a series of international mega webinars with renowned international faculties and national faculties under the name Knowledge Beyond Boundaries. So our first international webinar is scheduled on 22nd April, 3 to 4 p.m. And this international webinar, the topic is non-invasive therapy of managing fibroids. So in this on this 22nd April webinar, our international eminent faculty is Dr. Lee Kim, who is the past president of Obs and Gynecology Society of Singapore, and national KOL speakers are Dr. Narendra Malhotra and Dr. Manjula Anangani. So our team will share this registration link to you shortly. Delhi team will share with you on WhatsApp a registration link. So I'm requesting all the doctors to block your date on 22nd April 3 to 4 p.m. Thank you, sir, and thank you all the joining doctors once again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Pawan, can we close the session?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, yeah. Thank you.
उसने कर दिया क्लोज
Ma'am, you can disconnect.